Hey everybody, it's Don, Captain Cross-Stitch, back once again. It's been 2 months since my last video, and I rewatched my last video and it was very depressing. So if you watched that, I apologize for bringing my mental garbage along for the ride. But at any rate, but some of what I said was fairly true and accurate. I said I might not be back until I felt like I could be back, or made up my mind as to what I wanted to do next, kind of thing. So anyway, I'm back. This is going to be my first video for the new year, 2026. I'm recording this on New Year's Eve, but I'll try and upload it and see if it makes it into when the new year hits or not. But anyway, it'll be episode 25. It'll be my January 1, 2026 official beginning of my third year as a floss tuber. So what have I been doing the last 2 months? Not a whole lot, other than surviving and still unemployed, still looking for work. Just trying to stay out of the hospital. So far, so good. Nothing new on those fronts, so I'm not going to revisit old material there. But anyway, so the 2025, what did I get done stitching-wise in 2025? I did have more finishes, strangely enough, this year than I did last year. Although I feel like I did less this year, which is strange. But I'm trying to remember what I did finish. I know I finished the silver. My brain is foggy these days. Silver Creek samplers, founding principles piece that I did, which was my tribute to Charlie Kirk. Finished that. I finished the Tempting Tangles Designs Key to My Heart piece. I also, trying to remember. Oh, I finished the Stegosaurus dinosaur. What else? I thought I finished more. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I off the top of my head, I'm struggling. I believe it or not, I did a lot of preparation for this episode, but I still managed to forget some things. But anyway, my most recent finish, which I finished last night actually, it's a small. It's a bookmark. So this is from a company called Povetrulia. They're out of the Ukraine. Some months ago, they had reached out to me. Not sure exactly how they found me, but they contacted me on Instagram, I think, saying, "Hey, we'd like you to try out our product, and we'll pay to have something sent to you." Um, and I checked them out. I made sure it wasn't a scam or anything like that. They paid for shipping and everything. It was all legit. I had forgotten about it until one day it showed up in my mailbox, and it was a kit. It was a it was a kit. So they had, and I had my choice of, I think it was 12 different ones. It was called Wheel of the Year, and I picked the one that was called Samhain, which was, I'm guessing, the Halloween period one. But they had one for each month. But this was the most interesting to me looking. So I you know, now you can see, I actually, you can see the word Samhain in the cauldron there. I left that out because to me it kind of takes away from the beauty of the design, so I left that out. But otherwise I stitched it as, as it was written up. But anyway, so so then they said, try it out and post something on social media. So I posted something to Instagram about it today. I have a new Instagram account, so if you were following me before, my new Instagram account name is Captain Cross Stitch. So you may have to re-follow me or refriend me, whatever, how that works. And I would appreciate it if you did. I'm going to try and be more diligent about posting stuff there. That'll be the better way to contact me, because I'm still off of Facebook. I got off of Facebook and Instagram a couple months ago. But anyway, I'm work my way back into Instagram. I don't know about Facebook. I'm still on the fence, because my sister contacted me earlier maybe this past week, and said, she sent me a screenshot, and it was an account that had my name, and it had a picture of me, and she said, "Is this you?" And I said, "No, it is not." So she reported it. So if you see an account for me, either Donald or Don Chirby or Donald G. Chirby, I deleted all that stuff. I currently have no Facebook account, so anything you see is fraudulent. Sorry, my back is killing me right now. So anyway, my thoughts on this company. The fabric was a 16 count Ada, and the floss was Perry cotton. Now I'm not sure what DMC is, a blend or something. Pure cotton floss, I'm not sure I like it as much. It seems to be a little coarser, and it didn't fray on me, but it just seemed like it pulled a lot. Like when I was pulling it through, you could feel it dragging through the holes. And I even, which reminds me, I even tried because I was using a regular round tip tipped needle, and it was still giving me difficulty. So I tried using a ball tip needle for the first time, because I had ordered some a long time ago and never got them. And then I tried again, and then I finally got them. So I got a pair it's from Sullivan's, the company, and they give you a couple of ball tip needles. So my first time using it, I didn't know what to expect, but I actually liked it pretty good. I didn't have too much trouble getting used to, it seemed to kind of help navigate finding the holes a little better, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm going to try it on some other projects to see it with some different floss and see if I still like it than a regular rounded tip needle, for sure. So yeah, and so the kit came with the Ada and the cotton floss. Came with a needle. Had very good instructions, and it came with a organizer with the floss already attached to it, so you didn't have to separate it. So as a whole, materials, I give it a 6 out of 10. Packaging and overall instructions and presentation, I give it an 8. So average it out, give it a 7 out of 10, which is pretty good, I think. So if you want to check them out, they're on the World Wide Web at www.poverturia.com. They're also on Facebook and Instagram if you want to check them out. And if you want to, I posted some other information about this design and whatnot on my very first post on my new Instagram account. So go check it out. All right. Okay. So what else did I do in the last 2 months? One of the, I guess, more fun things I did was Lindy Stitch's Jingle Ball, which was December 5th through the 7th. And that was also the same weekend my wife had a scrapbook retreat to go to, so she was out of town for the whole weekend, so I had something to keep me busy the whole weekend, because it ran Friday through Sunday. So what all did I get up to at the Jingle Ball? I'll tell you in a second. This episode unofficially brought to you by the fine makers of Sun-Kissed Orange, the 0 sugar version, which is really tasty. So there were 12 designers in the lineup for the Jingle Ball this year, and this was my first Jingle Ball, but not my first virtual event with Lindy Stitches. I had actually done 2 prior. I had done the Midsummer Stitch and the Harvest Moon Hangout with them, but this was my first Jingle Ball. Now, I had wanted to try them the last 2 years, but I never knew when the date was, and by the time I found out about it, it was usually the weekend of, and I was, not in a position to attend or whatever. So, but I was ready. I had it done. Woo! Sorry, still got a broken finger. So this year they had 12 designers, including Lindy Stitches. The lineup included Tiny Modernist, The Blue Flower, Annie B's, Hands-On Design, Heartstring Saplery, Hello from Liz Matthews, Primrose Cottage, Robin Pickens, Teresa Kogut, Jeanette Douglas, and Stacy Nash. So, now I knew a lot of those by name, but a lot of them I've never either bought a pattern by them or, they're new to me or what have you. So, but I went with two. I signed up for 2 classes. Basically, just there was a lot of interesting stuff, but I couldn't do everything. So I did the 2 that seemed the most exciting to me, and the 2 that I chose were. So I went with Tiny Modernist with Cheryl McKinnon and her Plum Pudding Bakery 3D stitch model. This is her second time with a design such as this, and I fell in love with the one from last year, but of course it was an exclusive to that event, so I missed out. But she had it for sale this year at the Jingle Ball, so I'm caught up on my designs. But I got to attend the class and watch how you assemble the finished individual stitch pieces, and it was pretty simplistic, if you ask me. I was kind of, surprised at how easy it was. But anyway, and then the other class I took was with Janine McGowan of the Blue Flower and her Winterwoods Biscornu. Now, I've seen Biscornus of all shapes and sizes through the past few years, and I was always thought they were amazing looking, but I've never tried to do one. So I wanted to take her class to see how exactly are these things put together the way they are, but to make this unusual shape that they are. So, no, I haven't started either one of these projects. I just wanted to see the class to see how things are assembled. I mean, I can stitch and follow directions with ease, but I want to see how it's actually handled to be put together. So another person of note that I didn't take a class with, but I was there for a Q&A that they had, was with Jeanette Douglas, and she was a sweetheart. I had asked a few questions which they answered on air, which was fun. So yeah, it was great to at their course. I bought some designs in addition to the ones I had pre-ordered for the classes. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And they've already released the 2026 schedule of virtual events for Lindy Stitches. We've got the Spring Mingle is the first one. That's coming up May 15th through the 17th. And the Midsummer Stitch is July 18th and 19th. A Harvest Moon Hangout is September 25th through the 27th. And then next year's Jingle Ball is December 4th through the 6th. So mark your calendars, and I highly recommend you attend. They're a lot of fun. Okay, so that's kind of wraps up 2025, the last couple months of it anyway. So 2026, what do we got going forward? Well, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to change my calendar, my keepsake calendar, to the 2026 one, which I received earlier this year. And I'm going to have to pick one of these designs, and I think I had thought about this before. I don't know. I'll have to give it some thought. But anyway, I'll change my calendar. Get that done. Alright, so what else do we traditionally do for January? Oh, I almost forgot. And this was big news. Some of you, or probably all of you, already heard the big news. Witchell is re-releasing two highly sought after memorabilia designs. And that would be, of course, Lady of the Flag and Queen of Freedom, both of which I believe are out of print. So the secondary market on some of those is they go in the hundreds. Excuse me. So I got an email from Fiberlicious announcing the pre-sale of those. So I was blown away by the news, and I couldn't type in this information fast enough to order it. Sadly, when I got to their website, they were already sold out of pre-orders. Now, I don't know what Witchell's plan is for, is this a limited run, or are they going to do it and then do it again and again and again? I don't know how they're going to, what their plans are for that. But but Fiberlicious did have the embellishment packs still available. So I bought both of them and said, I'll at least have those, and then, if I should get the patterns some way or another, I'll have them. Then, in my brief moment of disappointment, the idea hit me, hey, let me go to Witchell's website directly. Because, Fiberlicious, has to get their stuff from Witchell. So I'll just cut out the middleman and see what I can find out. So I went to Witchell. And, of course, they had something on there about it. And it said for me to pick my store, I guess, based on my address. So there's a store that's about 45 minutes from where I live that I haven't been to in a while, but I have been there. And I ordered it through Witchell, which then they kind of directed me to my local store, and they still had them. So I ordered them both. So I'm getting them both. I have them pre-ordered for when they get released, and I think it's in January or February at the latest. So I'm so excited. Oh my God. So Julie Rudder, when I was at the Queen City retreat back in October, she had promised me, this is before we knew this was going to happen, of course, she was going to give me her Lady of the Flag pattern because she has one, but she's in the middle of stitching it, which was amazing kindness. But now she can do something else with it if she wants to, give it to somebody else or just hang on to it. So that was exciting news this past month. All right. So what else do we do? New Year? No, I'm not talking about resolutions. That's just a way to make yourself feel better about not keeping them. But new year, new starts, right? And I said starts plural, right? So, it's like I buy a lot of stuff and it just sits. And, I don't get many finishes because I want to start so many things, because I'm going to be 60 in 2026. So I ain't getting any younger. But anyway, so I figure, if I get the urge to want to kit something out and start it, I'm going to do it. I don't care if stuff doesn't get finished. I really don't. So, I have 3 things that I want to start. At least at this moment in time, I want to start them. Doesn't mean I could change my mind. I don't know. But anyway, so all right. I'll start with this one. This is so it's called Sir Thomas from Glendon Place. It's a turkey. Now, I originally thought I would save this for holiday stitching, but I don't want to wait till, next November or whatever to start this. Because there's a lot of, I didn't realize this when I bought it, but there's a lot of beads and specialty floss in this sucker. I mean, there's a fair amount of DMC that because they give you the conversion, the thread list for Sullivan's, DMC, and Anchor, which I think is amazing that they do that. Depending on where you live, one might be more prevalent. DMC for me, which at Hobby Lobby is still the cheapest around, even though they did raise their prices earlier, a couple months ago. But their everyday price is still like 60, I think it might be 69 cents, which if you go to Michael's, I think it's at least, I don't know if it's $1, maybe? I haven't been in there in a while, so I'll have to check it out, but it's at least 10 cents more. But yeah, this has got, so it's got a lot of treasure braid, petite treasure braid, and what's it called? Oh yeah, the petite silk lame braid from Rainbow Gallery. So you can see it. I got a bunch of colors there, and I got them all except one, and nobody had it. I was like, what? This would be like the one color that never resurfaces. But I put it on my want list on 123 Stitch to have them contact me whenever it became available. And I hadn't heard anything for a while. So I did an internet search for it and ordered it elsewhere. And then, of course, I ordered it and paid for it, and then they turn around and say, oh, well, we're not going to have it for another 4 to 6 weeks. I said, well, why didn't you tell me that when I ordered the damn thing? But anyway. But anyway, I got notification from 123 Stitch that they had it in stock to order. I don't care. I'll get an extra one later on at some point. So that's the first plan, New Year, New Start. The next one is a smaller one. This is the Coachman, number 7 in the Snowman Collector Series from Cottage Garden Samplings. So, you know, they're very popular for doing a year's worth of a theme design. So you've got Year in the Woods 1, they're in the middle of Year in the Woods 2. You got the Snowman series, you had the Houses series, of which I have all of them. So I was like, you know, I really need to start stitching some of these. So what I did was I took all 12 and tried to loosely assign them to a month that best represents the scene or the picture that is going to be stitched. So some of them didn't really have an exact fit, and some of them, you know, it's kind of hit or miss. But I assigned one per month. So I've got that. I'm going to be stitching this. So the design in the picture here was stitched on a 36 count chocolate milk linen by Fabrics by Stephanie, but I don't have that. But what I did have was the October Fabric of the Month from Grace Notes, which just so happened to be something similar called Hot Chocolate. And got more than enough fabric. I can do 2 pieces on this because it's a fat quarter, and this design is small. I'll have to measure it out, but I might even be able to do 3 on here. I'm not sure. I'll have to see how it is. But it's simple stitching. It should go pretty quick. So, now granted, I'm not going to finish it in a month. I wouldn't think, because like I said, I'll stitch on it. I'm going to try and stitch on these starts for like a solid week, and then move on to the next new start. And then, you know, we'll see how it goes. Okay. And then my last new start that I have ready is called Alice. So it's a Quaker style Alice in Wonderland theme. So the company is called AuryTM, and I did a little research on them, and it was interesting. It was interesting what I found out. So AuryTM, so the TM does not stand for trademark. It's actually the middle name and last name of the designer. Aury is her first name, and I got some notes on her. So her name is Aury Torres Murillo, or Murillo, however you want to pronounce it. She's originally from Venezuela. She currently resides in Monroe, Michigan. So she was taught by her grandmother at the age of 5 to cross stitch, and a lot of what she learned from her grandmother. So in 2007, she had started a video blog, or I guess today would be a YouTube channel, which she showed her cross stitch, which was predominantly Quaker style animals. And then in 2009, she opened her Etsy shop, and things took off from there. She had been quickly contacted by a distributor to ask if she wanted them to become a distributor for her patterns, and I guess she said yes. Because today her patterns are distributed to more than 400 stores in the U.S. and 37 countries around the world. So that's pretty amazing. Now, coming from Venezuela, which, is a country that has had various periods of turmoil over the past few decades, at the very least. So I guess she came to the U.S. I don't know if she came to the U.S. as an adult or what. I don't really know that part of her story. But in 2014, she officially becomes a U.S. citizen. And she designed, because of how proud she was at that, she created something called American Pride, which is a Quaker-inspired patriotic design. It's very cool. I went and bought it from the website in addition to another one. And according to an article that came out in a local paper about her and her company, she's designed over 900 patterns. That's mind-blowing. So she operates her company with her daughter. I think her name was Laura. And at some point between 2014 and now, so sometime within the past 11, 12 years, they opened a brick and mortar store in their hometown of Monroe, Michigan. So if you're ever out that way, stop in there. Now, what is interesting though is the company that they're listed under, like if you go to look for them on the internet, is not AuryTM. That's just, I guess, her trademark name. But the company that they're listed under on the internet is called Riverside Stitches. So check them out. I plan on putting a bunch of information in the box below once I upload this video. So I thought that was a very fascinating story. Sorry, I keep hearing like something upstairs. I'm wondering if my wife is coming down to see me or not. Or she's just moving stuff around or playing with the dog or something. There's a lot of banging going on. So another thing I want to try and do in the coming year and going forward is also talk about people I watch on FlossTube. Now, I've mentioned people in the past, if I say, hey, I got this pattern and I got it because I saw it on such and such FlossTube, So I'm going to start off with one of the first ones that I can remember watching. And the reason she resonates with me is she's an amazing stitcher, but her FlossTube also started around the same time as mine did. And she's got a few more episodes than I do, just because she does special episodes in between regular episodes. So her name is Rosanna. She goes by Bright and Dusty, both on FlossTube and Instagram, so just type in Bright and Dusty, all one word. Her last regular episode was episode 28, where she talks almost exclusively about Christmas stitching and she attended the Jingle Ball too, even though I didn't run into her on there or anything. Although I did see Corinne from Grace Notes Fabrics on there in one of the places I was at. But Rosanna also has just within the past couple of weeks posted a Christmas extra episode where she kind of does a walkthrough of all the Christmas kits and patterns and things that she has, so it's kind of a bonus Christmas episode. And she does something pretty much every episode that she calls Save the Stitches. Now she lives in upstate New York. She does a lot of thrifting in her area, and apparently it's a popular thing up that way, kind of like antiquing, but different. Sorry. But so she finds you know, somebody's finished cross stitch in a frame usually, and she buys them, because somebody spent a lot of time and effort on some of these things. Some of them are big, and she'll buy them and she hangs them up in her house, or does something with them. I don't know. But so I said, well, if I ever get lucky enough to do the same thing, I would. Well, it did happen recently, about maybe a month ago or so, sometime in the last 2 months. Anyway, let me just grab it. It's like right over here. Sorry about that. So we were in, there's a thrift store not even a quarter mile from my house. It used to be a bowling alley many years ago, when I was growing up, and it was in the neighborhood I grew up in, right across Pulaski Highway from where I'm at now. But anyway, when my wife and I first got married, sometime shortly thereafter, she had a part-time job working there at the bowling alley. But eventually it went out of business, and it became a thrift shop. It was converted into empty space, and they tore everything out of it and made it into a thrift store. So, and we've since, over the years, we've donated quite a bit of things, just stuff we wanted to get rid of, didn't care about, trying to sell it or whatever. But anyway, that's where I found this. It says, "May we all sleep in heavenly peace." And it was professionally framed. It's got nice hanging wire, and it's got the nice backing paper. It was custom framed by a place called The Gallery in Moreno Valley, California. So I can only imagine, the miles this thing had to travel. It somehow ended up in a thrift store in Edgewood, Maryland. And I forgot to write it down, so I don't know it off the top of my head, but I did do a Google search on this, and it did come up as a pattern that was from a designer. I think this was from back in the 90s, I believe. Well, it was stitched in 97 by somebody's initials, PB. But frame is a little dinged up, but I don't really care about that too much. So at some point, this wall behind me, I'm going to get rid of Hawkman and Superman and the Atom there. And I'm going to start hanging up some of my finished pieces that I've got framed, and some of the, save the stitches if I can get more than just the one piece there. So I adopted that from Rosanna, and I hope you all go check out her channel. She's got a lot of great content, and I would start from the very beginning, and you will be blown away by her progression over time from being a monogamous stitcher to where she is now. It's crazy. All right, so that's all I have that's exciting and new, and my plans for at least for the next month. But so all I have left is haul, which I have a fair amount of. So if you're not interested in that, you can jump off now. But otherwise, you can stick around for another 10 or 15 minutes while I show off the things that I've purchased. But I never said at the beginning, which I always seem to forget. So if you made it to this channel, it's predominantly about cross stitch, although sometimes I throw in some non-cross stitchy stuff at the end, like books, movies, music, comics, video games, other interests that I have. I don't have any of that right now, so all that's left in this video. But anyway, if you've made your way here, this is your first time, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you like it, you'll give me a thumbs up and subscribe, because it's important. And if you're returning, I hope you're glad to see me back. I'm still kicking, and I'm trying to wrestle my brain in being motivated. You know, it's hard to maintain motivation when you're your future is uncertain financially, you know, because I'm still unemployed, and, you know, I mean, I still have money in the bank, but, you know, the clock is ticking. So I don't know what happens, you know. Unemployment will run out in a couple more months, I think, and then what little money I have saved up that I've been using to pay bills with, you know, how long that's gonna last, because it'll go a lot quicker once I don't get unemployment anymore. So, but anyway, I'm not gonna bring the room down with all that. But so let's get on to some Monty Hall. Oh, and then I have one other surprise thing at the very end, but I'll save it for the end, which is Stitchy related. So don't touch that dial. You don't want to miss. Don't have FOMO. All right. Oh, sorry, I've got too much stuff and getting in the way. All right, so I got the embellishment pack for Winter by the Sea from Jeanette Douglas Designs, which is it's got charms and some skeins of it's like Gloriana threads and needlepoint silk. I mean, it's got all kinds of specialty metallics, crazy stuff. I didn't know these existed. I just kind of walked into these, so I'm trying to pick these up, as they're a little expensive. So then I got the final in the Snowman Collector series from Cottage Garden Samplings, the Pilgrim. So I'm guessing you can figure out what month that might go into. From Bella Filipina is Greta Goldbroom. That's a good design. I like that. And then Nerid Galatia, also from Bella Filipina. And then from Kathy Barrick, I got the Animals at Home, on the Farm, and in the Wild. It's just simple designs. Snowman Collector Series number 11, The Witch. She's a witch, burn her. That's a cool design, I like that. I like that pumpkin. That pumpkin is crazy good. And then from Bella Filipina. In case you didn't know, I'm trying to collect all of these, so I'm getting dangerously close. I mean, I've definitely got the first 40 of them, so they're up to upper 50s, lower 60s, I think by now. So I'm getting close. So this is Goddess Aphrodite. And then from Nora Corbett, I got the Arctic Ocean Mermaid. And then from JetX Stitch. Yeah, it's Persephone's Garden. Sorry about the glare. And then from Jared Elliott, I got the Canadian Beauty. That's a lot of red. From Canada. And then also from Jared Elliott, I got Goddess of the Sea. Also got the Just Cross Stitch 2025 Christmas ornament issue. That arrived. Yeah, they got some cool stuff. It seems like the ornaments get better and better every year. So whoever the designers are, they're really stepping up. Okay. Here's Spring by the Sea embellishment pack from Jeanette Douglas Design. I'm not going to try and rip it out of the bubble packaging, but this, again, it's got beads and charms and specialty floss. That's going to be interesting to work with. From Blueberry Ridge, I got Tommy's Pumpkin Patch. A cute little design. Tommy the Squirrel. Then from Jeanette Douglas Designs, I got Sew Together number 7, letters and numbers. And then number 8 of Sew Together, silks and wools. And then I got from Bella Filipina, I got the Seasons Mermaid Mandala, which is mind-blowing. That'll be a big project. And then from Nora Corbett, I got the Antarctic Ocean Mermaid. And I got some fabric. I'll just, you can see it. So this is from Bee Stitch Me. It's called A Little Sassy. It's kind of got, it's a pale blue with a kind of, I don't know, brownish gray modeling to it. It looks pretty much like it appears on screen there. But when I saw it, because I don't really order outside of Grace Notes that much, but when I got that in the email, I was like, "Oh, that looks really badass." I had to have it. So, speaking of Grace Notes, let's see. I got 2 of them since I haven't been on for 2 months. I got 2 of these. So from November, this is called Arsenic and Old Lace. So, you know, kind of a bluish gray modeling. You know, it's a neutral, which is what I prefer. But it's nice to have a stash buildup of, you know, various neutrals, so that way if I have the urge to kit something up, I more than likely have something I can use. All right, we're just over an hour, not too bad. And then for December's, it's called Balsam Fir, which is it's a very pretty light green with grayish undertones, like you would imagine a fir tree would be. Okay, so another endeavor that I've been thinking about and wanting to do for some time, still in the early stages, but I'm working on things. So in one of my previous videos, you had seen where I had posted pictures of the small that I stitched up for the Smalls Exchange at the Queen City retreat that I went to in October. It was a little mosaic fish. Well, that was an original design by me, and this is the official chart, if you will, of that design. So, and you can see there's me, I'm the designer, and of course the Instagram account has changed, so that's no longer valid what's on there. But at any rate, if anyone would be interested in having this pattern for free, all I would suggest you do is message me on Instagram and give me your contact information, however you want to do that, whatever you feel safe, just to get me a mailing address, and I'll send you a copy for free if you're interested. and you can see it's only 8 or 9 colors. Yeah, eight colors. It's all DMC, so it's a quick and easy one. I've already had somebody stitch it other than me, so yeah. So it's nice. So related to that, I'm working on some other idea. Now, I don't have anything printed out in such a nice format yet, but what I'm thinking of doing is creating maybe like a stitch-along. So what I'm thinking is the theme would be the Greek gods. If that sounds like it might be interesting to you, you let me know. Send me a comment, or send me a message on Instagram. I would appreciate it. I'll just show you. This is just loose doodling that I did for the initial start of. So it's going to be kind of like a long piece, not very wide, but long. So you can see some of my doodling as to what my ideas might be. Now I've already input this into my program and embellished it quite a bit so that it's more than just that, because that doesn't really make a lot of sense to you. But so a little sneak peek, if you will, of my own personal projects. Now, if like I said, I haven't figured out how I want to do that yet, because I don't want to be rushed, but I wouldn't mind releasing it in sections, and then you can just take your time with it. And I don't want to put it on a schedule saying part 2 is coming this date, because I may not have it ready by then. So I think I'll wait until I get most of it done before I say I'm going to start releasing it. And then that one I may charge something for, but it'll be modest. It wouldn't be a whole lot, I think most stitch-alongs aren't necessarily too pricey, especially for somebody who's a novice like myself. But anyway, that's it. So I'm glad, if you're still here, I'm glad you stuck around, and I'm glad to be back. I really enjoyed putting this episode together. I think I had a lot of important and fun, interesting things to say. Yeah, so I'm happy about that. So I don't know when my next video will be. I'd like to continue doing it monthly, but if I don't, I don't. Not a big deal. But I'm trying to be positive for 2026. Getting a job, or hopefully qualifying for a disability, because I have, those of you that know me, I have certain disabilities. I can't really be on my feet much, and my legs hurt constantly. So a lot of times, if you see a lot of movement from me, because I've watched some of my videos and I'm moving all over the place, it's because I'm wiggling, because my legs are in a lot of pain, and I'm trying to work my way through it. But anyway, so 2026, as my friend Dave said, it's the year of the dawn. Oh, and by the way, in case you didn't know, so 2 years ago, 2024, 2024 was the year of the dragon, Chinese calendar. This one that's about to end in February is the year of the snake. You don't hear too much about that, because snakes are But this upcoming year, starting in February, is the year of the horse. So that means strength, if I'm not mistaken. So, and I may try and work that into something for the month of February. Maybe. All right, guys. It was great getting on here. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. Come back, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you next time. This is Captain Crossstitch signing off. Till next time. Take care and keep on stitching.